What if you could go back and do something, but this time with everything you've learned? I'm not talking about time machines or wishful thinking. I mean right here, right now, revisiting something you've already lived through, but walking into it with a whole new set of tools. Because you're not starting from scratch, you're starting smarter, you're starting seasoned, you're starting upgraded. You've already unlocked the ultimate cheat code. The real flex isn't never failing, it's doing it again, with wisdom in your pocket and peace in your chest. This is Between the Save Points. No filter, no final form necessary. Welcome, my fellow in-betweeners. I'm your host, Shima. This is the third episode of Rewriting Your Origin Story, focusing on New Game Plus energy. Today we are getting into doing it again with everything you've learned, showing up smarter, stronger, and with our full inventory, embracing the wisdom and growth we've accumulated and applying it as we step into new chapters. That's that New Game Plus energy. If you've ever played a video game with a New Game Plus mode, you know what this is. You beat the game once, and when you come back for the second round, you don't come back empty-handed. You get to come back with your gear, your stats, and your XP. That level that had you stuck for days, now you breeze through with ease. That challenge that drained your whole health bar now barely leaves a scratch on you. That boss fight that had you sweating before, complete light work you can now defeat without breaking a sweat. Why? Because you've been there and you've learned from the experience. New Game Plus energy is about revisiting, not relapsing. It's the idea of restarting the game, but with all the skills, knowledge, and items you've collected along the way. Repeating, but refined. It's the second or third, maybe even the fourth chance, but this time you're better equipped, informed, and prepared. It's going in with a fresh point of view. Think about it. When you first try something, you don't know what you don't know. But once you've been through it a couple of times, you're no longer empty-handed. You're approaching it from a place of wisdom and, frankly, a little more grace. I mean, have you ever found yourself going back to something you've already done? Like school, or re-entering the dating scene after healing, or relaunching something you once abandoned, like a podcast? You didn't come back empty-handed. You came back with a new understanding and perspective. Because sometimes the most powerful move isn't starting over from scratch. It's starting over from strength in a way that actually feels empowering. It's not a do-over, it's a new chapter. And trust me, this is exactly what you need when you've been through the fire and come out the other side stronger. So today we're walking in with fresh eyes, sharpened skills, and more confidence than we've ever had, knowing we're no longer at the same starting point. You have all the tools now, the experience, the insight, the emotional resilience to go back and conquer the things that might have felt too big the first time. This time you're showing up with that New Game Plus energy. That said, I know starting over isn't always easy. For many of us, it's intimidating to begin again. But restarting is not the same as regressing. It can actually be incredibly empowering, even if it doesn't feel that way sometimes. Whether it's a career change, a relationship reboot, or even something as simple as picking up a hobby again after dropping it for years, it can feel like you're back at square one. But what if instead of seeing it as a setback, you see it as a fresh opportunity? It becomes a chance for you to apply everything you've learned so far. It's tough to ignore that inner voice that whispers, "Didn't we already try this? Isn't this a step back?" When we loop back to old situations or dreams. But for those of us who embrace the fact that we have already walked the path once, can find comfort in knowing we already know the hard parts. It's like hitting the reset button in a game, but with the knowledge and skills you've built up from the last run. In all honesty, starting again can be a strategic decision, not a setback. The second time you go through something, you go in with more experience. You walk in there with confidence, like, I know what I'm doing now. And if you're honest in owning your lessons learned, you're also probably less likely to make the same mistakes made in any previous run. Trust me, I know. My own life is proof. I've had my fair share of starts. I mean, if you've listened to the other episodes, you know I didn't finish my degree in 4 years. When I started that journey, I didn't know it would take 16 years, but I eventually got my degree. And if you've been following Between the Save Points on IG, you know this isn't my first attempt with podcasting. But here I am, doing it messy and in my own way to create a space for those of us who need to know growth isn't one directional, and neither are we. Proof that the realest growth happens in the middle. It took me years of trying things, failing, learning, and honestly reshaping my whole perspective as I went. And looking back, I realized that every single delay, every time I thought I was starting over, was actually me walking into a new chapter with new Game Plus energy. Doing something again doesn't mean you failed the first time. It means you gathered information. It means you're willing to refine. You move differently each time because you are different each time. That's the beauty of a restart and approaching life with new Game Plus energy. You're not going back to level 1. You're going back with all the knowledge, the lessons, the resilience that you built up so far. And honestly, that's how you grow emotional stamina. That grown woman resilience. It's not about perfection. It's about knowing that your previous losses were just part of your training. It's going back to school after years of doubt. It's re-entering the dating world after therapy and acknowledging your own self-worth. It's having a hard conversation with emotional regulation on deck. It's relaunching the business, but with clarity, boundaries, and your receipts. It's trying again, but not as the person who got knocked down, but as the person who learned from it all and got back up. That's what new Game Plus energy is in real life. You've earned the gear, not just metaphorical gear, but real life upgrades. Tools, wisdom, emotional armor. You fought the boss. You've earned the XP. Now you're moving like someone who's leveled up. And it's time to take stock because every new Game Plus run starts with checking your inventory. Trust, you've got some new skills in there. You're not re-entering empty-handed. You're stepping in fully equipped. Think about it. What are you carrying now that you didn't have before? Maybe it's patterns you've unlearned. The bad habits that used to trip you up just gone and replaced with healthier ways to cope, communicate, and grow. It could be clarity about what lights you up and what drains you because you've learned to protect your peace like it's a VIP club. Perhaps it's boundaries that don't bend no matter how many times someone asks for your energy. Hell, it may even be the ability to say no and not feel guilty about it. No matter what it is now your inventory of experience. And the wild thing is, half of these newfound traits you probably didn't even realize you picked up and have been equipping naturally. We don't always realize how many tools we've added to our belt or how much we've changed until we stop and check our inventory. It's easy to forget because it's second nature now, but you've gathered tons of tools along the way, and you've earned every single one of those power-ups and tools in your kit. Every single one, through trial, through failure, through repetition, and through growth. The more you recognize that and are aware of what you're carrying, the more intentionally you get to use it all. The old you might have tolerated confusion, dysfunction, or even chaos just to prove you were strong enough to survive it. But this version of you, this version knows how to choose groundedness because you've lived untethered and you know the toll it takes. See, the beauty of a new Game Plus season isn't just that you've been here before. It's that you're showing up differently this time. Every time you made it through something and chose to keep going, you were leveling up. And that is worth celebrating. So today, I want you to stop and name your power-ups. Because even if your journey hasn't been as linear as you'd like, trust me, it has been layered. With each layer, you've grown. Every level taught you something. Each experience built on the last. And acknowledging that is necessary for this week's mini mission. If you've been here before, you already know what this is. But if you haven't, each episode I offer you a small but meaningful action to take, a checkpoint to help you slow down, notice where you are on the map, and keep moving with intention. For this mini mission, I want you to do a real deal inventory check. Let's see what's already in your bag that you haven't even noticed. We're going to do this in 3 steps. First, step 1, start a new journal page, a Google Doc, a notes app, a voice memo. Even grab a sticky note to place on your bathroom mirror, whatever fits your vibe and works for you. Right at the top of your weapon of choice, My New Game Plus inventory. And step 2, I want you to make 3 short lists broken into 3 categories. Category 1, upgrades I've earned. Category 2, patterns I've broken. And category 3, gear I refuse to drop. You want to write down all the upgrades you fought for, all the habits or cycles you learned to notice and shift, and decide what core values, practices, or protections you are taking with you forward no matter what. Understand this isn't a gratitude list. This is a recognition list. This is you saying, I leveled up here, I earned this, I survived that, and I do get to choose. With the last step, step 3, apply your inventory to a real life replay. Take note of the situations, relationships, goals, or opportunities that are re-entering your life right now. There is something you're being called to try again, this time with all this experience in your pocket. Take some time and think about what it looks like now to engage with that something with this version of you. The one who has all these upgrades, broken all these patterns, and refuses to drop that hard-won gear. This is new Game Plus energy in real life. The setting might be the same, the quest might look familiar, but the player has grown. You're not empty-handed. You don't need to earn the sword again. You already own it. You've gained too much to play this next season like you're starting from scratch. So stop moving like you aren't evolving. You're not going back to who you were. You're returning as who you've become. Take that and move like someone who knows what they've survived and is ready to thrive. Inventory check complete. New Game Plus energy on deck. Whether you're revisiting old dreams or taking on fresh goals, you get to approach these moments differently. You don't max out everything at once. Sometimes you have to go through it once or twice to fully earn the skills that allow you to address the concern in the next run. You've learned from every arc, you've evolved from every playthrough, and now you get to show up the second, third, or fourth run with a clearer sense of who you are, what you've got, and what you're no longer available for. Carrying the understanding, the receipts, and the resilience that being in New Game Plus mode offers. Understand, New Game Plus isn't about playing it safe. It's about knowing when to push forward with confidence. You've done the hard work. You've got the experience to make smarter decisions. Now it's time to apply those lessons to take your life to the next level. So whether you're reigniting a goal, returning to a project, or stepping into a version of life you once feared, remember this. You've been here before, but you are not who you were before. You fought the battles. You know what you're made of. You know who you are, and you've got this. This time around, you know the rules of the game, and when you know the rules, you get to rewrite them. You get to dictate when you pause for a save point, like now. At the end of every episode, we'll stop to take a moment of reflection. Think of it as a journal prompt, a moment to pause, think, and take inventory of where you are on the journey. This isn't about tying things up with the bow. It's about checking in with yourself honestly, gently, fully. As you pause here, consider this. Where have you grown stronger than you give yourself credit for? Think, before I would have blank, now I blank. Give yourself time to think about it. Reflect on it, journal it, own it. Consider this your personal checkpoint, not a cutscene, not a milestone. Just pause to see what you've picked up along the way. That's it for this episode. Thank you so much for joining me. If this one resonated, share it with someone who's stepping back into their own second run. Someone who thinks they're starting over when really they're stepping into their New Game Plus energy with all the XP, wisdom, and gear they've already earned. Remind them the journey doesn't reset. Every past challenge made you stronger. Every detour added depth. And every boss taught you timing. You're not starting from scratch. You're starting stocked. Whenever this finds you, whether you're rebooting a dream, reclaiming a version of yourself, or showing up with new boundaries, know this, you've already done the hardest part. Now you get to do it better. Tag me at Between the Save Points and use the hashtag NewGamePlusEnergy to share your inventory check, the tools, truths, or wisdom you're carrying into your replay. I'd love to see what you're packing for the next run. And if you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed. Next week, we're closing out this series with a plot twist that flips everything on its head. You're the protagonist. Until then, play boldly, bring your wisdom with you, and keep rewriting your story. No filter, no final form necessary. I'll see you at the next checkpoint.